Welcome to our daily Bible devotions. We talked about yesterday the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, and we mentioned that he's a reliable extra biblical source because he's not a Christian, he's not even Jewish anymore, and his perspective is not someone who promotes Christianity, but of someone who simply narrates the history of the Jews. That's why his book is titled The Antiquities of the Jews. Now, if Flavius Josephus is one extra biblical source that points to the reliability of the New Testament, if you think about it, just how many non-Christian sources are there that mention Jesus or that adds to the credibility of the New Testament? Well, if we include Josephus, there are actually 10 known non-Christian writers who mention Jesus within 150 years of his life. That means they're very credible, they're very reliable. That means these things are not from hearsays. They're within 2 to 3 generations after Jesus lived his earthly life and ministry. So what are these 10 non-Christian sources about Jesus? First, Josephus, a Jewish historian. There is also Tacitus, a Roman historian. There's also Pliny the Younger, a Roman politician. There's Phlegon, a freed slave who wrote histories. And then there's Thallus, a first century historian. We also have Suetonius, a Roman historian. We have Lucian, a Greek satirist. There's Celsus, Roman philosopher. There's Mara bar Serapion, a private citizen who wrote a letter, and then in that letter, she mentioned Jesus. There's also the Jewish Talmud, or the collection of laws of the Jews. Now, all in all, these are 10 non-Christian sources. We say non-Christian because their tone, their perspective does not promote Christianity, that it's not aligned with Christianity, but it adds credibility, reliability to the New Testament records. So by contrast, over the same 150 years, there are actually 9 non-Christian sources who mention Tiberius Caesar, the emperor of Rome. Think about it. The Roman emperor at the time of Jesus have 9 non-Christian sources. Jesus has 10 non-Christian sources. So discounting all the Christian sources, Jesus is actually mentioned by one more source than the Roman emperor. How about that? So if you cannot doubt the authenticity of the records about the Roman emperor Tiberius, then why should we doubt the records about Jesus of Nazareth? Now, some of these non-Christian sources, such as Celsus, Tacitus, and the Jewish Talmud, could actually be considered not just non-Christian, but actually anti-Christian. What does that mean? They're anti-Christian, not in a sense that their records contradict those that were written in New Testament. No, it's not like that. There are actually no contradictions in their records. Actually, they corroborate, they confirm the events mentioned in the New Testament. But they can be considered anti-Christian because these works, even though they don't have eyewitness testimony that contradicts events described in New Testament documents, these are works written by writers whose tone is obviously anti-Christian. You have to understand, not because they're talking about the same thing does not mean that they should have the same perspective. For example, if we're going to talk about one specific historical event, for example, in the Philippines, the EDSA Revolution, different people have different perspective about the EDSA Revolution. But even though you are pro, you are con, when you talk about EDSA Revolution, you're talking about the same events. So that's what happened here. Even though they're talking about the same events, these writings by Celsus, Tacitus, and the Jewish Talmud, their tone is, in a sense, anti-Christian. So what can we learn from them and the more neutral non-Christian sources? Well, we learn that they admit certain facts about early Christianity that help us piece together a storyline that is surprisingly congruent or aligned with the New Testament. So if we piece together all these 10 non-Christian references, we will see that these 12 things are true. What are these 12 things? First, Jesus lived during the time of Tiberius Caesar. Second, he lived a virtuous life. Third, he was a wonder worker. He made miracles. Number 4, he had a brother named James. Number 5, he was acclaimed or considered to be the Messiah, the coming Savior, the prophesied Savior. Number 6, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. Number 7, he was crucified on the eve of the Jewish Passover. Number 8, darkness and an earthquake occurred when he died. Number 9, his disciples believed he rose from the dead. Number 10, his disciples were willing to die for their belief. Number 11, Christianity spread rapidly as far as Rome. Number 12, his disciples denied the Roman gods and worshipped Jesus as God. So these 12 things that I mentioned, you can conclude them based on these non-Christian references, not from the New Testament, not from the Bible, but from these non-Christian references. So in light of these non-Christian sources, the theory that Jesus never existed, whoever said that, whoever believes that, that is actually clearly unreasonable. How could non-Christian writers collectively, together, reveal a storyline aligned with the New Testament records if Jesus never existed? Almost all, if not all, historians, living, and even those who died already, affirm that Jesus of Nazareth walked on earth, a real person, and he claimed the things that were written in the New Testament. The New Testament is reliable in the things it records about Jesus. That's what we can get from this. It's not fiction. It's not a made-up story. It is confirmed by sources that do not even promote Christianity. There are actually more implications about this reliability of the New Testament. And we will continue to explore that in the next videos.